I've always thought about money in kind of a selfish way. Like, money is just mine and it's my possession and I own it and I have free will of it. But as I started to read the Bible, I started to learn a lot more about money and just one, of course, it's important, but also just to not prioritize it so much to the point where you don't have any other things that you enjoy or talk about. And there's one verse specifically in the Bible that really helped me learn a lot about money and managing money. And that comes in Luke 16, verse 10. It says here, if you are faithful in little things, you will be faithful in large ones. But if you are dishonest in little things, you won't be honest with greater responsibilities. And if you are untrustworthy about worldly wealth, who will trust you with the true riches of heaven? Now, these two verses, 10 and 11, really spoke out to me because at times, you think about having more money and what it could do for you and how things work and, just trying to get more money to become rich and wealthy. But when it comes to money lessons, sometimes in the Bible, they kind of teach you the opposite of what the world kind of teaches you. The world will sometimes tell you quit your job, get the highest salary you can, job hop every year, uh, get rich as soon as you can, all these different lessons, stuff like that. And now there definitely is benefit to, increasing your money. However, you just don't want to have a greedy love for it where it's not the best way to do it. And in Luke right here, we talk more about being trustworthy and faithful with money. And Jesus is basically saying here that if you're trustworthy or faithful in little things, you'll be faithful in large things. So it basically goes out to the people that say like, "Oh, I'll be financially free when I make more money," or "Oh, I'll get out of debt when I have more money," or "Oh, I'll be this when I get more money. I'll be that when I get more money." But the Bible is saying the opposite. Like, no, you won't be good with money until you're good with the money that you have now. Basically saying that who you are with the money, like even more money, it's not going to change you. It's going to enhance more of who you already are. So thinking that more money is going to change you and help you do what you need to do in your goals is not, because you have to be trustworthy with the little things that you have. And if you're dishonest in the little things, you're not going to be honest with greater responsibilities. You're not going to be able to handle it. And God has to be able to trust you to give you the things that you probably desire. But if He can't trust you to manage what you have now, how could He ever trust you to manage things that are way more of importance and have much more responsibility and meaning? And that's not even just with money, that's just with anything in general. But in this topic, we're talking specifically about money. You know, if you can't even handle $1,000 or you can't even save $10, what makes you think you'll save $1,000 when you make 10 times the amount that you're making? And I had to learn that a lot too myself. Because there's times where I say like, oh, like, I just got to get this new job, I got to get more a little bit more money, and I'm gonna be stacking up and be chilling. But God kind of looked at me and was like, no, like the money you have now, you can still get there. You got to manage this stuff worthily right now first, and be honest with yourself and manage this in a great way and be trustworthy with money. And then once you're trustworthy, I'll be able to flood you with more. But if you're not trustworthy with the amount that you have now, I'm not trusting you with more. And that's a big lesson here is, with money, you got to be able to be trustworthy with it, trustworthy to God. And you have to be able to manage it in a way where he deems you as trustworthy. Because everything on this earth, everything that we have, like, I had to learn like it's not really mine, it's God's. You know, and I'm not owning these things. I'm just stewarding them, managing them. I seen a video the other day, someone saying, when you're managing a client, if you're managing their portfolio or stuff, you're not constantly looking at their stuff, constantly worrying about it if it goes up and down all the time. However, we don't do the same thing for this in our own lives. And these things are God's, and we're just managing them. But all the possessions and everything in the world is His. And so my views on money have changed a bit where I'm not stressing out too much about going for the highest, biggest thing and trying to be rich as fast as possible. Obviously, of course, I would love to be honest with greater responsibilities and to be blessed for God to put me in a position to do that. But I know that right now in my life that He wants to see that I'm trustworthy. He wants to see that I'm faithful and that I know what I'm doing in the little things, and I'm taking care of what I need of. I'm making sure that, I'm paying off my debts and getting debt free. I make sure I have an emergency fund and I'm saving correctly. And then once all those things are good and God deems that I'm trustworthy, He's going to be able to flood me. He's going to be able to allow me to get that new job that will pay a lot more because He sees how trustworthy I was with a small amount. And He's going to know my heart. He's going to know that money's not the main center. I'm still enjoying my life and I'm not just always prioritizing the love of money. I'm loving Him and I'm doing the right things in my life. And once He sees that, He'll say, like, oh, money is a tool. It's not your whole life. It's not your identity. You're more than just money. You have a whole life out there and you're more than your possessions, the things you own and stuff like that. Like, you don't have to always think about all that stuff. Like, oh, like having this will make me cool. Like, no, God doesn't care about none of that. He wants to see your love for Him and your trust and faith in Him. And then He'll see that your trust is good in your possessions and you're good and trustworthy with the money that you have and how you manage it. And from there, He'll be able to bless you. He'll be able to talk to you. He'll be able to show you a new way and a difference. And a lot of people, I feel like, try to rush their season because they look at others and they might, feel a little envious and jealous. And I get you, I've been there. I definitely have. But I'm telling you, God has a time for you and it's different than everybody else's. It's hard to compare because your stage of life, your season, it's different. Everyone got a different season. And, some might get rich faster than others. Some might never be rich. And that's just the way it is. But that doesn't mean that you still can't manage the money that you do have and that you still can't love and trust God so He can trust you when you're able to do the things that you need to with your money. And so that's really what allowed me to think differently about money. And I plan to talk about a lot of different other verses as well within finances in the Bible. So definitely be on the lookout for that. There's a lot of lessons and teachings in here. I definitely want to get out to the world and talk to you guys about. So definitely be on the lookout for that. I thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.